What's that going to look like? Who do you draft? What do you draft? What is going on there? Coaching wise, Mike McDaniel, question marks surrounding him. He's been unable to adjust a lot over the past couple of years. Anytime a curveball is thrown his way, it kind of looks like a deer in the headlights. And today didn't look that great either with everything going on with the New York Jets and Tyler Huntley. The defense, Zach Sealer's going to be back. Calais Campbell could retire. Teron Armstead could retire. Teron Armstead looked like a shell of himself out there today. So, but that's not the only thing that we're worried about and questioning, because Calais, Teron, Javon Holland, probably not going to be back in. Questions on the defense all over the place. Both safeties probably going to have to get new safeties. Coaching staff may have to have a shakeup. You don't even know if Anthony Weaver is going to be back next year. There are rumors that he could be free agent. He could be coaching someone like the Bears next year. But the real question is, who's going to be the general manager next year? And a couple of weeks ago, even 2 weeks ago, even going into this game, I would have said, nah, Chris Grier's fine. Stephen Ross likes him. But now you start looking at this. You thudded out at the end of the season. And the reason you thudded out is honestly the roster, the way you were built. You can't win in the cold weather. Once again, you lost to the lowly Jets, who really were only playing for Aaron Rodgers to get his 500th touchdown pass in his career. You got run up and down the field 32-20 on your defense, and your offense looks bad. I would say Chris Grier was going to be safe until now. I'm starting to look at the big picture, and Chris Grier might not be safe. Think about it. Stephen Ross is a man with a lot of pride. At the beginning of the year, he said on record, on TV, to Kim Bokamper, this is a playoff team. This is a team we expect to go to the playoffs. We want Super Bowl. Super Bowl is this team's ceiling, and that's where we expect to be. He's probably embarrassed now that this team didn't even have a winning record, and he's probably looking around and saying, I'm giving you a chance, and you embarrassed me. I wouldn't be surprised. I can't believe I'm saying this. Like I said, Robert Grieper, a couple of weeks ago, if I'd have heard myself, I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow or within the next week, Chris Grier is fired.
I'm right there with you. I mean, if I look at this team right now and I say the same thing, is that, 2 weeks ago, I would have said you were on the upswing. You were in it for a playoff spot. And the way that they turned around the team at the halfway point, it looked like they salvaged the season at that point to get themselves into the playoffs. They fell short. They put an embarrassing performance out there today, against a rival that is downtrodden out there, a team that really only had their pride to play for at that point. They had nothing to play for out there other than to eliminate you from playoff contention. And they did just that. Not just eliminate you, embarrass you on that football field. The problem that I have with this is, and this is, I remember talking with you off the air about this, is that you have a franchise right now where I believe Grier needs to go.
Yeah.
But the problem is that, are you going to saddle a new GM with this head coach and this quarterback as well? Do you believe it can be salvaged moving forward by having the right person making the moves off the field? And that's the problem that I have, is I'm kind of at the point of, if you look at the other team in town, the Miami Heat, they should have salvaged their situation in the offseason as well by getting rid of Jimmy Butler instead of bringing this forward. I kind of see the Dolphins at the same point is that they need to revamp this entire franchise right now. You need to clean house with Grier. You need to clean house with McDaniel. And unfortunately, Tua's under contract. You're not going to be able to get rid of him. But the problem is that I believe you need to rework this, because unfortunately half measures have not worked in the past with this franchise, and it's not going to work right now.
305-567-0560 number to call. Let's go to the phone lines. 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Neil, the season ticket holder from California, calling you guys again.
Great to hear from you, Neil. What's on your mind?
Hey, so real quick, I just want to shout out to you guys for doing this all the time. You guys get me on the phone and let me vent, and I just love listening to you guys, like all the way out here in California on the Odyssey app. So really happy about having that, and being a Dolphin fan is tough out here.
It's tough everywhere now, Neil.
So, yeah, you're right. So, yeah, I'm not happy about being embarrassed today in New York. That was just not what I expected. Like, we're supposed to show better than that. Tyler Huntley needs to go. I'm sorry. Like, I thought after last week there was a little bit of hope, but that guy looks like he doesn't know the playbook. We can't block up front. We're saddled with Tua. You know, I hate to say it. Like, when he's good, and when he's not in there, we're miserable. So we need to get a good backup quarterback. I'm sure there's going to be people out there, and we need a new general manager that makes the right decision on a backup. I was watching the Commander game today, and see that they put in Marcus Mariota, and that guy just carried them. He played really well, and we haven't had anybody like that since Matt Moore. So we just need to get a good backup quarterback. I'm sure somebody's going to show up, or there's people out there that we can get. And then our entire draft, our off season needs to be a new offensive line. Like, we need a new center, somebody who's not 205 pounds. We need new tackles. I guess I'm okay with the rookie, because maybe next year he'll be better. But
Aaron Brewer had a good season, though, the center.
What's that?
Aaron Brewer, the center, had a good season, though. He's a little undersized, but I thought he had a good season.
Yeah, but we can't run. I mean, that's the problem. Right. Like, I mean, you know, we have Waddle and Hill that can't get downfield because they're playing too deep. And then when they play too deep, you're supposed to be able to run. And we can't run because our offensive line they might as well be Swiss cheese, because they're just miserable.
It's so crazy. It's crazy, Neil. You say we're tied to Tua Tagovailoa, yet can't count on Tua all the time. He has injury problems. Yeah. So now you're going to have to count on your GM, whoever it might be, if it is Chris Grier or not, and you're going to have to count on Tua when he's in to lead this team, but you're also going to have to count on your general manager to get yourself a quality backup quarterback. So when Tua misses games, you have someone that you can rely on, and you don't look like a total deer in the headlights and go into New York and get beat by the Jets.
Yeah. I mean, that Jet game, just watching that, we get the ball inside the 20 on their first offensive play. We get a field goal. Are you kidding me? And then A-Chain gets tracked down inside the 5. We get another field goal. That's 8 points that would have made a difference if we could just get touchdowns. You know, the guys who were doing the color commentary, I think it's I can't think of the guy's name.
Greg Olsen was one of them.
Greg Olsen said Miami has a tendency of not being able to pick up 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 and a lot of tackles for loss on run plays.
Oh, yeah, you had no confidence when Achane didn't get in on that initial long run that they were going to find a way to get into the end zone.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I was cheering like he's going to make, and then and now watch. And exactly what you said happened. Like we settled for 3.
Yeah, so, and that's the reason why you're going to be not a mediocre. Yeah, 8 and 9. I think maybe chances are now, especially with these optics. Now, if we'd have come in there and we'd have played well and we'd have won against the Jets, and let bygones be bygones. Kansas City played their backups. Denver got in. Tua was hurt. I think you'd be feeling, if you're Chris Grier, a little safer right now. I would not be surprised if he's let go after that performance with that roster and that way it was built. To do that, I don't know, man. Something's got to. Vladimir Lewis always says it. The streets need a body. The streets do need a body for what happened this season with the Miami Dolphins.
And I would just go so far as to say, like, we didn't control our destiny, and Denver took care of Kansas City, or however that played out. But like, if we had won, then you're right. Maybe Chris Grier gets another chance. But I think now, because we lost and it looks miserable. Yeah, I think they're gonna get rid of Grier. They need to.
Neil, that's why I said this might be the thud the Miami Dolphins needed after all.
Yep.
Maybe. Yep. Well, Neil, hold it out on the West Coast, man. We'll talk to you next season, because our season is over, man. I'm sorry. That after tonight, Dolphins preseason will be back. Can't wait to hear from you. You're not gonna have season tickets next year, will you?
No. I got them. I already started paying for them.
We'll be back next year, Neil. Can't wait to talk to you. Thank you so much.
All right, man. Thanks, Dan.
Back to the phone lines, 305-567-0560. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
It's Gordon. I would just say this. I mean, like, that game really didn't mean anything. But it was a microcosm of the entire year.
Yeah.
And it's like when we got that interception by Dobson, he had to take that thing back for a touchdown.
Or else it was a field
because
goal.
I knew we weren't going to score. We
Yeah.
weren't going to score a touchdown. So it's like, you've got Tua, and you say when Tua's there, things are better. Tua's got
Where's Tua?
Cheetah, he's got Waddle, he's got all these guys the whole year when he was playing. He still couldn't put up points.
Who is your best receiver this year? I would say
tight end. That
would say
is not
Jonnu
the
Smith.
answer.
And Jonnu Smith didn't
Which
exist.
is not good.
He didn't exist at the
Which is
beginning of the
not
season
good.
even. Yeah, no.
Which is not good.
So I
not
think
good. So it's like, I think they need, here's the problem. They've got a lot of small receivers. They need some big guys that can go up and get balls. And I am so, let me tell you something now. If I see that screen pass one more time next year, I am going to I don't know what I'm going to do. I mean, that has got to be taken out of it. Listen, they got to learn to run the ball, just like that guy said. They got to learn to run the football next year so they don't have to do those stupid screen passes that get you nothing.
They throw a lot of stuff behind the line.
You know when they get you something? It's 3rd and 20. They run that screen pass. They get you 9 or 10 yards. That's it.
Let's go through it, Gordon, right now. Rushing yards. Devon Achane, minus that big, long run. I want to see exactly how long it was. 62-yard run. He had 121 yards. Tyler Huntley, 16 yards. Jalen Waddle, 6 yards. And get this, Jalen Wright, -4 yards. Jeff Wilson, -4 yards. That is ugly. That is disgusting.
It's gonna be difficult for everyone to handle when the draft comes, because everyone's gonna want guys who can get in the end zone from playmakers. But we're gonna have to just go get the best offensive lineman from Georgia, Ohio State, Alabama,
LSU,
whatever. Just get those guys. Just get it. Those 3 teams, Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, whoever, just get guys from those schools, get the best players you can in the trenches. Listen, we don't even have pass rush. You can't depend on on Chubb and what's his name, Jalen Phillips, to come back next year and be productive players. You're going to have to go there are so many problems on this team. I mean, how are they going to all of a sudden go from 8-9 and pick up 2 or 3 more wins next year? I don't see it.
I mean, Tua's got to stay.
Here's what I see.
Tua's got to stay healthy, and you got to get stronger in the trenches. That's what you have to do.
Here's what I see. Here's what I see happen. They're going to fire this. They're going to fire this general manager. They're going to bring someone else in. Mike McDaniel's going to have one more year to do it. If he can't do it, he's gone.
Yeah.
How does he even stay after this next year?
Gordon,
if he can't make the playoffs,
I can see that 100%, Gordon. That could happen right there. Grier gets fired. McDaniel's on the hot seat. You better produce. We'll get you some offensive linemen, because if they don't address this offense and really deep, well, the defensive line, but they don't address the trenches and they don't address the backup quarterback situation. I don't know what we're doing here. 305-567-0560, 560 WQAM. What's your name? Where are you calling from? Hello?
Brian, West Palm Beach.
Brian,
West Palm Beach.
What's on your mind? What's going on?
Hey, how you guys doing, man? Thank you for doing this every game after.
Hey, thank you for being with us.
It's turned very hard to watch. And I don't even know how. I know Grier's got to go. We have the talent. I just think it starts with the top, where if your coach is on the sideline, not involved, just shivering, your starting quarterback is with his Fendi glasses on, not even cheering up his quarterback. It's just the whole team. He's lost the team. The team is gone. You're only as tough as your coach is.
What do you say to people that say this was a meaningless game anyway? It was a moot point. It didn't really matter how we played or what happened because of what the Broncos did to the Chiefs.
Well, I think it's just to the point where, like you said, the Jets played with pride. We had just whatever. Let's just go home.
This was a microcosm of our season. This was a microcosm of the season.
Exactly.
Couldn't win in the cold. Tua's hurt. Offense didn't really get going. We couldn't run the ball. The offensive line was bad. The defensive line, Zach Sealer, Calais Campbell, and Chop Robinson made a couple of plays. The cornerbacks kind of got burnt. Basically, if you even wanted to encapsulate this season, you watch this game and it kind of tells you everything you need to know.
Exactly. It tells us exactly what the history is the future is going to be, because we're watching on the history now. And I was sitting there just watching Calais Campbell giving Weaver a big hug. Weaver's going to be the next head coach somewhere. He's gone.
A lot of people are looking at that, especially with the depleted
He's
team
gonna
that he
be
had.
gone.
If he had the defense he was able to put together, although they did get smoked a little bit today by Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers turning back the clock, almost 300 yards in passing, scoring 32 points, 32-20 final score. It's tough, man. It's tough. Tough to be a Dolphins fan. You would hope at least to end the year on a high note. They do not. And like I said, this game was basically a microcosm of our season. Every little nuance that happened. What a thud. And once again, for those that sit there and say it was a meaningless, pointless game because of what the Broncos did, I don't believe that. I believe there's a little more context in the loss, how you lose, how you carry yourself, what you were able to do, what you're not able to do. And oh yeah, that narrative that you can't win in the cold, minus 45, anything below 45 degrees. Well, that's not a narrative. That's the real truth. Dolphins have a lot of question marks, and I'm starting to really believe they have some changes they really need to make. And